Hi, in this video we are going to explain how to legalize or apostille an Italian birth record extract, also known as estratto per riassunto dell'atto di nascita or estratto dell'atto di nascita. First, please let me introduce you to MultiLex. We are a services agency and we help individuals and companies navigate the intricacies of the Italian bureaucracy. A quick note, the birth record extract refers exclusively, in the context of this video, to the standard Italian birth record extract, also known as estratto di nascita or estratto per riassunto dell'atto di nascita. It should be kept separate from the multilingual birth record extract under the Vienna Convention of the 8th of September 1976, so the estratto di nascita plurilingua, because they are legally distinct documents and they may vary in content. Furthermore, please note that the legalization, the apostille of the multilingual birth record extract requires additional elements and considerations which are not relevant in the context of this video, and we have faced such elements and considerations in a different specific video. So, what is an Italian birth record extract? It is an official public document, and as such, it can be subject to the legalization or apostille procedures. What are these procedures? What is an apostille? What is a legalization procedure? So with an apostille or legalization, which is a consular legalization, you are authenticating the signature on a public document. So the signature is the signature of a public official acting in an official capacity, like the civil registry officer of a municipality, for example. This procedure do not certify the contents of the document, so the facts, the information which are shown in the document. Are these procedures always required? No, because there are several specific exemptions which are applicable to specific types of documents, like, for example, the birth record extract, by virtue of international agreements or regulations which apply to both the issuing country and the receiving country. Please note that the requirements may vary, so it is essential to verify each case, since the receiving public entity may still exercise discretion, so it could request a formal authentication, so an apostille legalization regardless, and they could also request specific requirements with regards to the specific type of birth record. So please check with the receiving entity before you choose a specific procedure and a specific type of document. What is the difference between apostille and legalization? Well, the legalization procedure, the legalization which occurs through the consulate or the embassies, is very complex, could be very complex. It is a multi-step procedure. And as I said, it involves the consular authorities, so the embassies or the consulates of the receiving country, which are competent for the issuing country, so which are competent for the country that issues the birth record extracts in this case. Whereas the apostille is a streamlined legalization procedure because it only involves one public entity of the issuing country. So if you want to determine which procedure is required, please note that it varies according to the applicability of the Convention on the Apostille of 1961. If the convention does not apply in the specific case of the birth record extract for that country destination, then you will need legalization, so you will need to go through the consular legalization. If the convention applies, of course, you will only need an apostille. The birth record extracts are legalized or apostilled at the Italian prefecture or prefettura, which is competent for the issuing municipality. In any case, in case you need to legalize or apostille document, the birth record extract needs to be in a paper format with an ink wet signature, it needs to be stamped, and the signature of the public officer signing the document needs to be registered with the prefecture, and the official's name needs to be in capital letters and needs to be complete so the prefecture can check whether they have his or her signature. And of course, there could be also additional requirements like specific writing to insert on the certificate so that the prefecture can proceed. So if the document is an extract of a digitally filed birth record, currently it cannot be apostille legalized because it is issued with an electronic signature rather than a wet ink signature. At this moment, we are in July 2026. We are still waiting for an official clarification by the Minister of the Interior or by the legislator to establish the procedure for apostilling or legalizing these documents, even though they do not have a wet ink signature. But what happens after you apostille the document? Well, it depends on the specific country where you need to use the document. Usually, you will need to translate the document into a language which is officially recognized by the destination country. And we always suggest, apart from the UK, where the certified translation accepted, then it can be performed also in Italy, we suggest always to perform the translation in the destination country through an official translator of the destination country or an official translation agency. This would make things easier and would lessen the risk of the destination entity not accepting the document because the translation is not compliant with their requirements. Whereas if the document requires legalization, so it needs to go through the consular legalization, there might be potential additional requirements from the consular authorities for the birth record extract, and there are consular fees to be paid, and it is possible that document needs to be translated before the consular legalization. There are several regulations and agreements that introduced exemptions from legalization apostille procedures. For example, one of the most famous, most well-known is the EU regulation of 2016, 1191, which is applicable to all EU member states. I would exempt the birth record extract from any form of legalization if it needs to be used in another EU member state. So if you have questions or you have doubts, please reach out at info@multilex.it. Also, if you need a quotation, we will be happy to help you. To the next video. Bye.